our physical and spiritual world.
Yes.
It's like the right brain and left brain fusing together. The oils fuse the physical and the spiritual being together, so it becomes one.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what happens. That's the reason, as Brother Bashir said, we can go in the past and we can also see in tomorrow.
That's right.
Because that's what happens when because there's no time anymore and there's no space.
Only frequency.
So we transcend those.
Yes.
Okay? So the key for me is to understand, really see and hear that the spiritual being is the thing that we're really striving to get people to connect with their spiritual selves. They must fuse with it, because if they keep being separated, and that to me is slave master.
Excellent.
When you are put in a situation that you are dissected into two creatures.
Okay.
You're a spiritual being and you're a physical being. And you're motivated to move more towards the physical aspect of yourself to the exclusion of the real self. Okay, so therefore, with the oils, what I'm hearing these oils and where you're presenting it is, these oils, when used properly in the right elements, right formulas, combinations, can allow a human to become a human being and not just a human and a being. Because they're dangerous in just being a spiritual person without your human self. Go ahead.
Your voice got fuzzy. Say that last part again, please.
I'm saying that the slave master is the slavery is when you are being set up to dissect yourself into two creatures, a spiritual creature and a physical creature. Dissect in that manner, you are then a slave, because you can be a slave to your spiritual world, or you can be a slave to your physical world. And there's always a master, always someone directing the orchestration in both. But once you fuse the physical and spiritual together, there is no place for a director.
There you go.
You become the music and the instrument itself. Okay? You are the orchestra. Okay? But if we are led to believe that we are one or the other, we will not be so successful. So I'm really getting another depth of the oils, and I am really appreciative of this, is that it is a fusing, with the herbs. So I understood what herbs actually do. But now working with the oil of it, this drop of congealed energy, this drop that we are all made of, this oil that fuses us to be a human being, and therefore we can begin to recognize our full potentials and our ability to function in our fullest and greatest self.
Yes.
And therefore nothing stands in our way to be able to do what we need to do. So the slave master to me now says that we are wanting people to align with themselves.
Yes.
Because they're separated.
That's right.
When you talk to people, they're either talking to you in a spiritual, from up here, religion, or they're talking to you from down here, the world, itself. It's either conversation you're going to get. But it's very rare you are able to find people, and it's a blessing when you can find more than one together, that can actually speak about a whole being.
Whole and complete.
A complete being, which means it doesn't matter what you say, I hear you completely from wherever you are, because I'm listening as one being. I'm not listening to you as a religious, spiritual person or as a physical person out in the world. No, I am one. I have already been fused. So I can hear whatever you're saying in any dimension that you bring it and say it. And that is the freedom. You know, when it says oppression is worse than murder, that's right. Not allowing a human being to be a human being is oppressive.
That's right.
And that is what is happening to the people. They are not being allowed to be a human being. They're either being trapped in a religious world, or they're trapped in a physical world. So I pray that you will be blessed with this program on the 6th, because I think there are a lot of souls that have awakened, and they realize they have no body. Or they've awakened and they realize they have a body, but they don't have a soul. You see? And so this particular structure that you're bringing is actually going to help both of them.
Okay.
To come to being one. You see? So this is very...
I'm getting from what you just said that we have to have that fusion of these alternate selves, of this dichotomy, of this separation, of this right and the left, and we have to have the fusion in terms of ourselves as the oneness, so that our oneness can actually be about the oneness. We can reflect the best of the oneness that has been given to us to reflect, and we cannot do that if we're like you said, distended in religion or distended in the world of politics or whatever it may be. But the oils help us to come into our own oneness.
Yes, I do hear that. I mean, freedom. I do hear that. That is freedom. Yeah. Once you can fuse into one being, you are free. Because there's a power that is there that is cannot be touched. It cannot be touched. But once we are separated, look at the Native Americans. What was their weakness? They separated them. Yes. Once that occurred, they were done. They were finished. Had they stayed as one, no one they would not have been erased. And is that what our people are doing? We need to pull it back together.
Yeah, and to show you the subtleties of that, of course, the subtleties of that particular example. I said that example is, they were different nations, right? And just the subtlety of it, that the other way that they were separated was them taking the children out of the nations, the children into the orphanages, and they decided to raise the children themselves. So that's another way that people were separated. And in our in the current experience of African descendants, the separation occurs on lots of levels. So I'm seeing that this is an excellent discussion, and what we're going to do next week is, or I should say October 6th, is not go into all of this.
Right.
But it may be that this is what the people need as their preamble. This may be what's needed to kind of focus the people. Because see, Shakira, you just came in, and let's say that this was October 6th. So you came in, we did the exercise already with the lavender and the frankincense and the stress away. We chose a goal. Each person chose a goal. And then, they thought of what is that thing that pops up in the mind as a negative against the goal. There's something that blocks them from reaching the goal. And that's the work that I didn't know if you had your oils out, but that's the work you could do if you want to stay on with me later. But I could see how the discussion and the clearing of the air and having access to what oils can help, how oils can help us, is almost as freeing as offering the exercise.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like even if we don't get to it, it's like
absolutely.
We at least offered the opportunity to open a door in a different way, you know, in a completely different way. So that's excellent. That's excellent.
Brother Bashir said something a bit ago, and I wanted to say, I don't know if people have thought of you're dealing with this particular forum. One of the greatest understanding about the oils for me is when the people were enslaved here in the United States. They were eating the intestines of pigs. This is death, okay? This is death. Because guaranteed they weren't cleaning out those intestines properly. Guaranteed they weren't being cooked fully. But they lived. Why? Because the Creator grew for them a gourd, and I'm going to cry because it's so profound. He grew for them a gourd and some greens, collard greens and watermelon, the two top cleansing of the human body. So they were not going to die from this, because the greens and the watermelon was giving enough water, and it was also providing nutrients. And the greens became the brush to sweep out any bacteria, toxicity that could have wanted to live there. They were going to have to go. These things. And God grew it for them. And
Allahu Akbar, had to say it.
The cotton was their greatest asset, because it's natural. And when you open it, there is it strengthened them. That's why they could stay for so long. They were being strengthened by the cotton. And so God did provide for them.
Let me ask
you. Very well.
What was in the middle of the cotton? When your voice went out when you were saying that something was in the middle of the cotton. I could not hear you. Your voice went out.
The cotton has seeds. The cotton has seeds. Okay? It open like orange. It has side points. The cotton has seeds. But when it opened first, there is an energy inside of it that these people were breathing that was giving them strength.
Shakira, please mute yourself. I think it's you that's scratching. Okay.
It was giving them strength. This is why they couldn't understand how they could stay out there in that broiling sun hot and pull this cotton. Down. Why do people wear cotton in the
because it's cool.
Cooling agent.
It's cooling.
Okay.
Very cooling.
Yes, ma'am. So God gave 3 of the most profound things that they would need in this particular condition to survive it. Hence, the oils now have become the gourd, the greens, and the cotton.
Wow. Yes.
You see, so this is part of the story. This is part of the story.
Yeah, and
we've just picked it up in a technological way.
Yes, and it's gratitude. It's gratitude. It's an expression of gratitude, and people need to be reminded of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they have on them so many other things that, you know, that analogy, that metaphor was beautiful, and we certainly want to, use whatever we can to have people really get that their last time, their past